Hey, my creative friends. It is creativity talk time where we talk about creative things. My name's Shannon from Shannon's Studio. And today I just read and my brain just exploded. If you know, creativity, sometimes we think of as just making things, but it's so much more than that. So much more than that. Though I do love to make a thing or two. But it really is more than that. And reading today just sparked so many thoughts. I just fried my eyes out of the light. The thoughts just kept coming, and I got my idea book out. That's why one of the reasons for our idea books, and that's a video previously, and I wrote down all these ideas, and it just was so inspiring, and I just had a great day. Anytime you can be creative and you can be creative for a large part of the day, you're gonna end up just excited, happy, all those feelings just are gonna flow through you, and that was today, particularly today. I don't know, it was just that way. So, it was a new book I was reading. It's the 5 tools help find courage, creativity, willpower, and live life in forward motion, by Stutz and Michaels, 2 guys. And it was, I don't know what appealed to me really from when I got this. Oh, I think they were talking, I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about the masculine and feminine. That was really interesting to me, talking about we all have masculine and feminine. It just depends on what we let express more or what we leave out. And it was just really interesting. So then I, went to his book, this Barry Michaels book, and one thing led to another, and I went down the reading rabbit hole. But it was really good. So, and for me, I just, I wouldn't necessarily pick one of those books, but it's been fascinating. I mean, because I'm thinking courage, creativity, and willpower. I'm not terrible at them at all. I'm not, creativity, I'm probably higher. But anyways, it's a good book. It's a good book. So, speaking about books, there's another book, because this topic came up to me the other day, or was it this morning? I think it was even this morning, about the fact that when I got up this morning, I was up earlier than normal, took my shower, and then I spent a half an hour on social media, which I don't really care if you spend a half an hour or not. I don't care if I do sometimes, but I just thought, oh no, I spent a half an hour not, during one of my higher times of my circadian rhythm. And so I'm gonna go through that, but I just thought, oh, that's, I used my prime time poorly. And so I just thought I would talk about that. So as a backstory, 300 years ago, there was a scientist guy who took a plant and just was, wondering about this plant, and saw that it's, leaves and unfurled and everything unfurled during the day and then closed up. So he stuck the plant in a cupboard and blocked out all the lights, and then when he checked, the plant would still do the same thing. It wasn't the light that was doing it. It was some kind of biological clock. And so that's what, over time has been found, that we all have biological clocks that, like, internal timekeepers, and they govern our circadian rhythms, and that's 24-hour interval. And it brought about the science of biological rhythms, which are chronotypes. So that kind of is how that leads into that. So it's the chronotypes of, our temperature, hormones, sleep, wake, all this kind of stuff that they study. And what they have found is that we have kind of prime times. We have a 3-stage process, and it's a peak, a trough, a rebound. And I could tell you all these things, and you could probably tell me all these things without studying it at all, just knowing how we personally function. And that's what I was thinking this morning. I'm not at my peak in the morning, but I'm a little better off than like mid-afternoon, which I think is for most of us. So So to look at that rhythm, they found there's the 3 stages, and they found that there are people where we are separated into larks, like early birds, like in the morning, and then the night owls at night, and then he created this 3rd bird. This is from the book When: The Scientific Secrets of Perfect Timing by Daniel Pink. So he's talking about this idea. And so he named and coined 3rd birds. So mostly 60 to 80% of people are in that middle ground of 3rd birds, where they're a little tiny bit night owl, little tiny bit of lark, but mostly in the middle. And so they've done studies, and they've found people are not alike in our chronotypes. We don't experience the day the same way. And that's my point. We don't experience the day the same way. We have times where peak is where you do your big business, your hard work, your focused work. The trough is not much, kind of mindless, relaxing, and then rebound, have like a burst of work energy again. And it's not as good as the work you do in the peak, but it's still work that can be done. So the larks and the 3rd birds, so about 3/4 of the people follow that pattern of peak, rebound. Then night owls switch it around a little bit. Night owls are recovery in the morning, trough, and peak at night. What a surprise, huh? So we have different people have a different thing of how they work, and you kind of have to know that if you want to hit your creative peak, you probably should figure out what kind of person you are. Now, it can vary slightly. Because, genetics play 50% of figuring out your chronotype. 50% is genetics. So then there's some other factors. The next biggest thing is age. This is the next biggest thing. So naturally, little kids are larks, and so are old people. And they tend to be, get up early and that sort of thing. And then when you hit puberty, you become a night owl. And so it kind of varies a little bit, which was funny because I don't recall being a night owl when I was a teenager. But yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so age plays a part, and when you were born, what time you were born, and the months. So if you were born in summer and spring, you're likely an owl, and if you were born in winter and fall, you're likely a lark. So all these things play into it, and larks are pleasant, productive, plan for the future, emotionally stable, takes initiative, feels morally superior because they're morning. That is so totally my husband. He kept telling me, you just need to practice. I'm like, I can't practice in the morning, So and then owls, generally speaking, are open, extroverted, impulsive, sensation-seeking, greater display of creativity, superior work memory, better sense of humor, and higher scores on intelligence tests. So those are kind of generalities of how they are. So specifics, the stereotype, night owls would stereotype things in people early in the day, whereas larks would stereotype people later in the day. And if you drove, night owls are better at driving in the morning because they're in their recovery period. And if you do lying and cheating was less likely to happen for larks in the morning, and more likely to happen in the morning for owls. So it's just almost like opposite. and if you're going by a system that is pushing you to have peak performance at the wrong time of day, it can really be difficult for you. And so for our purposes, having things align, and for one of the things it said too is, for you think old people lose their memories, but they did studies that old people and young people have the same memory capabilities if you take into effect that you align an old person's, you synchronize an old person's chronotype with the type that they're doing the task and the time of day. If you line all those things up, the memories are the same. So I thought that was really interesting too. It just went to my thinking that when we can dial into our peak time, have our best activities that we want to produce at, and add creativity and thinking creatively, if we can do that in those times, we are really tapping into our best self, and we'll be able to give our best self. And so there was a quote from Daniel Pink that says, what ultimately matters then is that type, task, and time align, what social scientists call the synchrony effect. Synchorony effect. I think that's the wrong emphasis. Synchorony effect. I think that was, the syllables hardened in the middle. So anyways, it's synchronizing effect. So if you can, when you're being creative and when you're going to set up your creativity time, if you can put yourself in your peak or your rebound, at the very least the rebound. Don't do it at the trough. Don't go to the trough. Put your creativity in a time that's going to be most helpful to you. And for me, it's definitely night. Always has been, and probably always will be. Though, if you're older, they say you become a lark. I'm getting there, but we'll see. So figure out your prime time. That's the creative tip tonight. Figure out your prime time. Share with me what your prime time is if you know, and really think about some of the tasks that you're doing. So sometimes I will do the work task, just the physical, non-thinking, wash the dishes, do the laundry in the afternoon during my trough, because it's just like, I'm tired, I don't want to do things, and so that's when I do it. And then I come alive at night. So maybe build your schedule and your tasks into what works for your chronotype, for your circadian rhythm. And that is the tip. Figure out your prime time. And let's see, you have a creative heartbeat, so listen for it. And I will be back tomorrow with another tip. Bye for now.